I was in the car with my friend and we were going around getting donations for my BPA trip, and I saw that PEC had tagged me in something on Facebook, and I checked and I screamed in the car and I freaked my friend out. But it was just super exciting to know that I was actually getting to go to DC, and it just didn't feel real.
Oh goodness. I was like, there has to be another Hannah Price and Ada. Like, this can't be me. I was super excited though. I was so ready because I'd never been to Washington before.
As Cheyenne's mom, I was obviously worried about my child flying across the country, going far away from me, all by herself. But once I met with all the chaperones and all the volunteers, I became relaxed knowing that she was in good hands and going to be okay. And that this was an opportunity of a lifetime that I was not going to let her miss out on.
This was her first time as an older teenager to go off and be gone a week, long trip away from family on her own without someone that I knew attending with her. So I was a little nervous about her going. However, I know that she's a mature young lady, and I knew that she would do what was asked of her.
Before the trip, I was super anxious about it just because I don't go on a lot of camps with a lot of other teenagers. So knowing that I'd have to be around people that I didn't know was kind of stressful. But when you were there and you met all these people, they're really great people, and I still talk to some of them, and it's just great because I feel like I made a lot of new friends.
I believe this opportunity will benefit Hannah by helping her to build confidence in herself. Next year she'll be going off to college, so this gives her a great eye-opening experience, I think, to kind of have an idea of what that will be like, meeting new people, going somewhere where she may not know anyone at all, but yet build her confidence in knowing that she can relate to others who are like her, and also to others who are different from her as well and have different experiences.
My feelings before the trip, I was kind of scared to go on it because I was afraid I was going to be alone the whole time and not make many new friends. But afterwards, I can wholeheartedly look back and say that I made tons of new friendships, and there's nothing to be afraid of on going. I had a wonderful time and made so many new friends, and I didn't expect that. So
they were all super nice, and we were all there for the same purpose, and we were all kind of the same people. We were leaders and important people in our school, like student council and other important organizations that we have. And they were all just super focused on being important in life, and it was great to be around people who have the same goals.
I became close with my roommates, my two roommates. Their names are Taylor and Shelby. I really bonded with them. We had the same interests and hobbies and stuff, and it was just really cool to get to know them, and we would venture out together, and I could say we're best friends now.
This was my second time on an airplane, and I'm always nervous before flying, but knowing that I had a special new destination to fly to, I was less nervous about it.
As Cheyenne's mom, for many years she's had it on her bucket list that she's wanted to go to Washington, D.C. and see all the national history. And it's quite ironic that she was given this opportunity to take this test and successfully succeeding, winning this opportunity and going to the capital of the U.S. and see all the sights.
I learned that I love to travel. Having the opportunity to travel there to a place I hadn't been just gives me more drive to be able to be in more important things and see new places.
I learned that I actually do enjoy history. I like being around it, and I like seeing it in person and being able to take it all in instead of reading it in a history book.
I was excited for her to be able to go, and just really wanted her to get the opportunity just to soak everything in just like a sponge, appreciate other cultures, also appreciate history. Reading it from a book is one thing, but then actually going and seeing it and experiencing it and hearing the stories from the tour guides such really does, I think, enrich a student's learning or individual's learning of the history overall.
Arlington National Cemetery was absolutely amazing. It was so humbling to be there and see how many people gave their lives for the United States, and seeing all of the headstones and stuff was absolutely stunning. It was amazing.
I think it's opened her eyes to see more than just what's in the community, and it's given her a better understanding of what life's about.
The Arlington Cemetery was significant to me because of my family. Both of my grandpas are veterans, and it was just so cool to see all the graves there, and it was so pretty. And definitely the changing of the guards was something I'll never forget. It was so, I don't even have the words to describe how wonderful it was. It was very, there was so much respect, and that's not really something you see very often nowadays. And it was just a very cool experience.
My favorite thing to see was the Washington Monument, or the Lincoln Memorial. The Lincoln Memorial was so much bigger than I thought it would be. Walking up next to it, it was just amazing at how big they actually made it. It was just amazing.
So we got to see the Washington Monument several times, but one time specifically, the sun was about to set, and there's this little lake in front of it, and so it was really pretty getting to see the Washington Monument and then the lake and the sunset all together. It was really pretty.
In considering whether or not to let Hannah go on this trip, a parent, I think, often thinks of a child's safety, and so I was concerned about her safety, just going off, but also realizing that in today's times, we're just as safe here as we are anywhere else in the world, I think, for the most part. There was something, though, that did occur on the trip that had me a little uneasy at first. I had gotten up particular morning and turned on the news and saw that there had been a shooting there in Washington, D.C. And so I immediately had text Hannah just to ask if they were all okay, and I didn't get a response. And so then I went to the Facebook page that the youth tour had put on, and one of the sponsors had already posted something earlier, probably about 45 minutes earlier, saying that they were all okay, they were at the Capitol building, and that the students would contact us whenever they got the opportunity. So I was fine with that. I knew they were fine. I didn't worry about it anymore. And about an hour later, then Hannah was able to give us a call to let us know she was okay.
Regarding the shooting that happened with the Republican baseball player practice, we were on the steps of the Capitol, and it went across the security guards' radios. I didn't hear it personally, but the students around me did. Throughout the Capitol, you saw security tighten, and the congressional people that were talking to us were having to run in and out and talk to us as much as they could.
While we were listening to Congressman Mullen, he had his wife step in, and none of us knew why. We didn't really think much of it. And so she started speaking and said that Congressman Mullen was going through, he had some work to do and stuff, and so none of us really thought anything of it. We just continued listening to her and everything she had to say. And pretty soon she told us that the shooting had occurred, and we were all just kind of like, what? Because we had no idea about it until she had told us. We had noticed that security had tightened up, but I mean, we just thought that's how it was in the Capitol building.
Even though all of this was happening and it was a big, important deal, you still felt safe with all the people that you were with, and it didn't make it change, and didn't make the feel of the trip change, because we were all still unified and tight together.
My daughter did feel a little bit uneasy, but she knew that with it being the Capitol and in Washington, D.C., that she felt safe knowing that there were a lot of people to take care of her and that she was well protected by her chaperones.
I felt a little uneasy, but I knew that we had nothing to worry about. I knew we were safe because of how tight the security had gotten. We weren't able to notify our parents right away because we had to leave our phones outside, but later we got to tell them everything was okay, and I think they posted something on their Facebook that we were safe and everything.
We were at the steps of the Jefferson Memorial, and we were taking pictures by the Washington Monument with it in the background, and President Trump's helicopters were flying overhead, and in one picture of myself there right over my head. But it was just awesome experience to know that he was flying in, the President of the United States was.
What most surprised me about DC is that there were not very many people. I figured there would be like tons of people all over, but there wasn't that many people. I mean, that surprised me.
In my mind, Washington, D.C. stands for all of the history and all the work that people have put in to make our nation so good.
The most frustrating part of the trip was the airplane delays. When it was on the way back in Dallas, and we were all exhausted because we had to get up so early, and just the delay, everyone was like, oh, we just want to go home. But I mean, it all turned out okay. It wasn't really anything to worry about. It all turned out fine.
The hardest and the most frustrating part of the trip would probably be how hot it was and how much walking we had to do. The humidity there is insane, and it was just all the time. It never let up. It was just hot all the time.
During the trip, I think it was the second day. Yeah, it was the second day because we were on our way to D.C. We had just landed in the Baltimore airport, and we were all waiting for our luggage. And my roommate, everyone had gotten their luggage except for my roommate. And we were standing there, and she was like, my luggage isn't here. And her luggage actually got left in Oklahoma City. And so she had to go a whole day without her clothes. And so it was bad then, but I think we can look back and laugh on it now.
What happened on the trip, I lost my purse on the bus, but at the time I didn't know that it was on the bus, and so I freaked out about it because all my important information was in there, but I found it the next day, so everything was all good. When I think of Washington, D.C. now, I see the White House and all of the amazing monuments that just represent D.C. and what it stands for.
When I think of Washington, D.C., I think of the Capitol building. It was beautiful in there. There were so many murals and statues, and in the dome of it there was this painting, and you could look up at it and it looked like it was sticking out of the wall, but it was just a painting. It wasn't a sculpture. It was so pretty.
Other places that I would like to go, I've always wanted to go to Boston and Massachusetts because there's so much history there from the founding fathers and everything, and I think it'd be amazing to see more history.
She grew up overnight. She came home and she had a whole new assertive attitude. She became more focused on her future and what she wants to do with her life, and it just gave her a whole different perspective and outlook to what she can do and what the whole life is about.
I would like to, now that I've seen Washington, D.C., I would like to see Washington, the state. That's been something I've wanted to do for a while now, and I want to go to Seattle and just experience that.
Before Hannah went on this trip, she never did, I don't think, appreciate history so much. I mean, she's a very good student, but I think I had hoped by her going to on this trip that she would have a better appreciation of history. And as she came back and was telling me the stories, I mean, I could see a light in her eyes when she talked about it, and she was connecting it to things that she had learned, from her textbook and from her teachers in school. And so I do see for there to be a big difference in the way that she views history now, and also in the way that it relates to us and in our connection to our country and the veterans that are in our family and that kind of thing too as well.
I can say that youth tour definitely gave me more confidence. Like I said, I went into it not thinking I would make many friends, but I did, and that just looking back at it now, I just realized that I'm able to do that, and that's something I didn't think I was going to be able to do before.
Hannah being able to go on the tour has just been a great blessing. She's always been a child that has wanted to travel the world, and so whenever she's had got this opportunity to test. She was really super excited about testing, and she hoped and prayed, of course, that she would be selected and be able to go. And so when she learned that she was going, it was just a really exciting time for all of us to know that she was going to get to do something that she had longed to do for a very long time.
This opportunity is way beyond Cheyenne's and my expectations, and I think that it gives them the opportunity to see the capital and what makes our country great.
I would definitely recommend this youth tour opportunity to every junior student that is out there. I would encourage the parents to be encouraged by the opportunity. I know sometimes things get scary and we worry about our kids as they go off, but this was really a very unique experience, a wonderful experience for Hannah, and I'm very glad that she got the opportunity to go.
I would say that the tips could be definitely studying, because studying the books that they give you really do help, and underlining important parts or highlighting important parts and just going over it, or studying with a friend. It just really helps towards taking the test.
In order to be successful in the test, I got the little study book and I just looked over it every night for about a week and really got familiar with the text in it and just made sure I knew it through and through before I took it.
To be successful on this test, I read over the book a lot and I studied everything that I could, and at the same time that we were going over this in my U.S. history class, we were going over some of the same stuff. So it was just like a refresher to be able to go over it even more than just reading the book itself. To prepare for the interview, I would say definitely be confident. Even if you're not confident, just act like you are. It gives the illusion that you're really sure in yourself. But honestly, just relax about it and be calm and just, you know the answers, and just breathe and just think about your answers before you answer them.
Oh, I was so nervous. I got here about 25 minutes before my interview time, and I just sat out my car, and I was so nervous. So I was just like, I'm just gonna pray about it, and so I prayed for peace and the right words to say, and I think I rocked my interview after that. So.
The interview portion was really good for me as a teenager because I haven't had like an actual job yet, so it kind of gives me an idea of what an interview would be for a job, and it gave me the experience that I think I'll need in the future for it.
I would definitely say to everyone trying out for the youth tour, give it your all. It's definitely something you will never forget, and you'll make these friendships and memories that will last you a lifetime. And I think if you give it your all and you make it, you won't have any regrets. And I think that if you don't really try or don't really give it your all and you don't make it, you'll wish you would have, because it's definitely the trip of a lifetime.